for all bikers. But it
It's
wasn't
carried
ever
on.
about money.
It's carried on in the booze fighter faith, and it's carried on now in the Wino's crew faith.
That's right.
Yeah.
The Wino's crew, when they came forward and asked Dad if they could start the crew up and name it after him, you know, he was proud of that.
Well, he originally called them the Texas Bunch, remember?
Yeah,
My crew.
my crew.
So
Yeah.
basically, Wino came up with it, and they just added.
Yeah, they went and fought for him in court down there. They went down and they fought for the rockers, the booze fighter rockers, and because they were claiming a legal hold on everything. And
Yeah, it was a very dividing
Well, they
beginning
came.
of a very dividing moment amongst a lot of
You
brothers.
remember Gino, the shirt maker?
Unfortunately,
I have that letter.
Yeah.
I have the letter
Okay.
that they wrote Dad saying, the head guys of the booze fighters saying how much they honored him and respected him, and he would always be, you know, their guy in the club and all blah 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 blah. And then on the back, you turn it over and it says, "But our lawyer has a few things to say," and it goes on to say, "You must cease and desist anything with the booze fighters. You cannot have a T-shirt made." You couldn't even have a fucking T-shirt.
Gino got that letter too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a cease and desist. You cannot conduct any kind of business in this club. They gave him a lifetime board membership, which didn't.
Honorary.
They claimed it was honorary, but I have his
It
board
was
membership card that says lifetime board member. It doesn't say honorary, and they just screwed Dad. And I'm really proud that Wino's crew started up because it breathed. I mean, it just gave me hope because I remember seeing my father how disappointed and crushed he was, and how angry he was for the last few months of his life. That, you know, some people said it was about the money. It was never about the money for Dad. He didn't give a shit about money.
I don't think it ever been about the money.
No.
It costed him money to start up the booze fighters.
Mhm. But he wanted to have. He said, "I don't want to see you guys holding empty holes in your pocket," because he knew this asshole Doug Barron, who was the mastermind of this whole shit, was profiting off the club.
Right.
Was these 100,000 shares of stock they created? He said, we're going to sell 49% to the members so they have a vote. You have to buy this to have a vote in your club. And me and Gary Rye, the other partner, we're going to keep the 52%. Like they were doing something for the club. All they were doing for themselves. They were making money off these shares.
But they
still had retained.
They were selling stock.
They were still, yeah. But that drove Dad nuts. This ain't no fucking corporate organization. This
Well, they made
ain't
it
Wall
that way.
Street.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
this
right.
is a biker club, man. This is a brotherhood.
it was big business. By then, it was big business. It was turning worldwide. It was
Yeah.
It was big. You see,
getting
how
way
many
off the
chapters
charts
it got
that
big.
JD and Wino had ever dreamed of. It was evolving into something they didn't know much about.
Yeah, that's getting crazy.
It was about the brotherhood was come second or third or wherever in line. It was about now we're making money.
Right.
So
This is the last gag box I got. In the first gag box in here, the Wino or Gary Rye and Doug Barron write in there exactly how they're going to run this club. And the number one thing is by Wino and JD's wishes. And they had it
Okay, brother.
13
Okay, you
days.
got it.
And that was
thanks
that.
for coming, Chris. And
13
Good
days.
seeing you all in the whole.
yeah, we got to break it.
He came in from fishing, and he got arrested. So it was just you and your mom. So at the arraignment, your mom's there, Wino's there, and the judge tells him, says, if you behave yourself and do everything your wife tells you to do, I'll let you go right now. I'll OR you to her right now. Wino says, I've never done anything she's ever told me to do yet, and I'm not going to start. So why don't he ended up doing a week in jail, kind of saying that.
I remember that. Which one was that? Was that was when they crashed the gate? I think. When he crashed the
No.
gate,
This
no?
is fishing. They came in from fishing.
Oh.
They were up the coast.
Yeah.
I
Well, and
believe.
how about the story of Wino when he was lobstering and how he got to Fort Bragg?
Yeah, I remember
That's a
that
good
year.
story.
I was, I think I was like 9, 10, and I used to lobster with Wino, but he was out there by himself on a trip, and he had a buddy that had a restaurant, and he'd help him out with a few lobster tails when he could, little extra side money. They weren't maybe quite to the mark of being legal, but they were real close. You know, I mean, nobody would notice. So he had this little bag on the side while he was fishing out at, I believe it was Santa Rosa or one of the islands in Southern Cal. And he had these Navy. No, it wasn't Catalina. It was up above there. So anyway, he had these. There was Navy on the island, and they'd come out in their Boston whaler once in a while and bum lobsters from him. You know, some.
Yeah, he'd save them
some
shorts.
Shorts and give him some. And one day he's running gear and he's busy and he's looking down and he sees the little boat coming. And he thought, oh, it's my buddies. You know, he says, well, then as they got close, they put their hats on, and it was game wardens. Well, of course, he's got a big old bag of maybe not quite legal lobster, almost. And he's got this flat bottom 35, 38-foot boat that's got two big Cadillac engines in it, and guess what? It goes like hell. So he sees them coming, and he decides, I'm not sticking around. Jams the throttles, and off he goes. Well, he realizes as he's going away, I'm safe now. He looks back, and that little sucker's just barely, but it's catching him slowly. And they're getting closer, and he thinks, well, what's next? Are they pulling out the pistols? So he swamps them. He goes around them about 3 times, swamps them, runs off and leaves them, and he thinks he's all good. And about 10 minutes later, he looks back and here them suckers come again. So this time he swamps them really good, and he leaves them. And now I'm free, didn't get busted. A month or 2 later in the mail, he gets a little envelope from the fishing game that says, we've decided to revoke your license for 2 years for failure to show. They couldn't catch him, so they just took his license away.
They could see the number on the side of the boat.
He's reading it, and I was young, but I can still kind of remember. He says, well, what do you think, kids? Should we go up north and go salmon fishing? Hey, I'm good with it. Let's go. You know, so that was our move out of Southern Cal.
So on the same line, he named the boat after you?
No, he named the boat after her.
I thought, did he?
Well, we all had a boat.
We all had a boat named after
Oh,
us.
okay.
Mine was the Wee Willie.
The Wee Willie,
The
okay.
Wee Willie. And hers was the TD.
Yeah, and let's talk about the names of his boats. There was a Wee Willie. There was
The TD was the fast one.
I had them all written
There
down.
was a Butcher Boy.
Butcher
The
Boy.
Butcher Boy. Oh yeah, there was a pile of them.
The Faith.
The Nona May.
The
The
Faith.
Faith.
The Nona May.
Nona May. Yeah, I got a picture of it. I got it off the internet.
This is something for prospects, you see.
Yeah.
Where's the history? They're
Yeah.
going to be looking
Always
for
prospecting.
Wino's boats,
All
right?
Wino's
Always
boats.
prospecting.
Yeah.
And what else was
It's
there?
interesting.
There
You
was
can
the
look,
Terrie.
and ironically,
There
you
was the
can
Terrie.
look that up. You go on the internet. There's a lot of sites for old fishing vessels. They
Right,
tell you a lot of
right.
shit, and it's really neat history. Really.
There was the Terrie. And
Yeah.
Which one did he sink? Which one did he have a heart attack on?
I don't remember the name of that
Is
one
that the
because
Faith?
no.
That was the one in Bodega?
Yeah, the one above Bodega there.
Actually, it was the Coast Guard at sank it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
He
was waiting
it
for the
was
tide to come.
sinking,
If the
and-
tide
No,
would've come back
let
in.
me tell the story because
Okay.
I know it. He was bringing a boat up from Southern Cal. It had been sitting on a dry dock for 2 years, dried out in the hot weather, about a 40-foot boat, and he bought it and redone the whole thing, got it in the water. Well, on the way up north, everything went fine until he got in some crappy weather coming around Bodega, and the boat started leaking. So he pulled into Fish Rocks, and the boat's now it's leaking pretty bad.
Well,
and
he was pumping. His pump went out, and so he was hand pumping that
Okay.
son
hand
of
pump,
a bitch.
right?
And then he strained his heart. I mean, he was down on the deck. They had to
He
fly.
pumped himself right almost into the grave. He
Yeah.
had
And
a
they
whether
had
it
to
was a heart
fly out
attack or
with the
total exhaustion.
helicopter and airlift him off the boat. Coast Guard came out, and then go ahead.
No, you want me to take over now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, somebody has to remind. I mean, I'm the same way. I can't remember everything, and then I
So
remember.
Fish
Stayed in
Rocks-
the anchorage. He was
Fish
there
Rock's just
for,
above Bodega Bay, about how far?
2 nights and a day, and finally the Coast Guard went out, and he was basically laying there, passed out. And they went. I can't remember if it was a helicopter or a boat. But they got on board and they lifted him off, got him out of there, and the guy stuck there for another day, pumping the boat out. And they said, well, we're going to take it back to Bodega Bay. Well, the weather wasn't sound enough to move it out of a safe anchorage. And they ended up moving, and of course, the boat sank while in tow.
Oh, fuck.
And Peterson became his lawyer, and he got him sued the Coast Guard. I mean, which is kind of like suing a cop for shooting a criminal now, kind of the same thing. But they made a mistake, and he got a little check to buy another boat. Basically, all it was a swap. But you know, and he recovered. It almost killed him, but he recovered. And then we got the Butcher Boy. That was the next boat we got. He bought with that money. Yeah, the old Butcher Boy.
Tell the story of stealing Dad's car when he's out fishing, his truck.
Oh gosh, there's so many of them stories. The funnier one is when on the Butcher Boy we had this Q-beam spotlight, handheld. Remember them old ones, Gary and DJ? You guys remember? And then if you set them down on something, they'd catch it on fire. They were so thick. Well, we had one on the boat, and it'd light up the whole harbor coming in. But it was a little handheld, you know. Oh,
Terrie,
Wino, we're up in Oregon, and Wino's like, I told him, I said, I ain't going to Oregon with you this year unless you promise to have me back by hunting season. And oh yeah, we'll be back by then, September, whatever it was. Well, we're up in Newport on the opening day of hunting season. So I'm like 16, I throw a big fit. You lied to me. I said, if you don't like it, get the hell out of here. And I loaded up all my shit. I had boots, I had rain gear, big old pack. It's 108 degrees outside. I'm going down the freeway, down the highway, hitchhiking. Well, Wino, I don't need you. And he leaves. Well, he almost beat me home because it took me 2 days to hitchhike home. And the third day, here comes Wino with the boat. He's in the harbor. Well, the second night, it's time to go hunting now. I finally made it home. So we go to, when he gets in, the next morning, we're like, man, old Eddie, my hunting buddy, old Eddie McMahon says, you know, we ain't got a spotlight. Well, in them days, we didn't do all our hunting legal. I mean, sometimes you got to hunt at night. That's the way it is. I said, I know where there's one. Wino just got in, tied up. He's sleeping for 2 days. I go down there. We cut the wires on the old Q-beam, and off we go hunting. That sucker, you'd point at a deer on a hill at night, and the deer would go right to his knees. Like, please shoot me. Not that we ever would shoot a deer at night. Let's get that straight. But
allegedly.
So anyway, Wino, we're off hunting for about a week, and Wino gets the boat going, switches over to Blackhead real quick. Gets my buddy Robert to go out fishing with him, and the first night they're coming in after dark, and he goes, God damn it, I can't see nothing, Robert. Grab that light. And had a special little hole where it went. Robert's going, well, where's it at, Wino? And he says, right there, God damn it, right there. Turn on the cabin light, no, it ain't right there. Because it's up in Utah hunting. It's gone, so they make it in, of course, and Wino's so pissed off. He's like raving to get me home so he can chew my ass for that light. I get home and, you no good rotten bastard, you took my light. I said, Dad, I got $4 in the car. Oh, well, let's get him in here and cut him up. Everything was okay after that. We did too. We slayed
Allegedly
him.
had $4.
Allegedly, that's just a deer story. You know, you make that shit up.
All right, let's join the party.
All right, hey, we got a good start tonight. You know, this stuff don't happen instantly. We got to do it right.
Spontaneous too.
Yeah, see, like I said.